All right, today we're diving into something pretty wild, an AI built on a radical idea that to beat a human, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be, well, a better predator. So let's get into it and see exactly how this digital hunter learned its craft.
So, you've probably heard this a million times, right? The idea that computers have solved poker. Game over. But what if that whole idea is just wrong? What if the real story is way more fascinating than that?
It really comes down to this, a tale of two AIs. Think of it like a shield versus a sword. The unbeatable shield, that's an AI trying to play a perfect defensive game, totally unbreachable. And then you've got the exploitative sword. This one's different. It's not trying to be perfect, it's designed to find your mistakes and punish you for them, hard. Okay, so to really get why this is such a game changer, we gotta bust this myth of solved poker. See, the idea of a perfect machine is super appealing, but poker isn't like chess. Chess has perfect information. Poker, oh man, it's a messy game of gut feelings, missing pieces, and just pure human chaos. So for a long time, the kings of AI poker, bots like Lebratus and Pluribus, they were all about that shield philosophy. Their main goal wasn't even to win the most money, which sounds kind of crazy, right? It was to be so mathematically perfect that you literally couldn't exploit them. This whole approach has a name, Game Theory Optimal, or GTO for short, and the core idea is simple. Play so perfectly that even another perfect player can't get an edge. It's like building an impenetrable fortress, a perfect defense. But as we all know, a good defense doesn't always win you the game. And here's the kicker. This chart shows the problem perfectly. When you look at the raw numbers from the trial of Pluribus, one of the most famous poker AIs ever, guess what? It actually lost money. Yeah, you heard that right. For all its supposed perfection, its bank account went down. So, wait a minute. If it lost cash, how in the world did they claim it was a victory? Okay, the secret is this weird metric called AVOT, and this is so important to understand. AVOT has nothing to do with profit. Nothing. It's just a report card for how well the AI stuck to its own perfect GTO strategy. So let's say it makes a theoretically correct move, but a human makes a wacky, unpredictable call and the AI loses the pot. AVOT still says, good job, AI. It completely separates the strategy from the actual, winning or losing of money. And this is where the story gets really good, because some researchers looked at this whole defensive thing and said, nah, there's got to be a better way. So they created a new AI, Patrick, and Patrick was built on a totally different philosophy, a much, much more aggressive one. The white paper for Patrick just lays it all out. It says the path to victory lies not in being unexploitable, but in being maximally exploitative. I mean, wow. Forget the shield. This was all about forging the sharpest sword imaginable. So did it work? Oh yeah, over a massive trial. We're talking more than 64,000 hands against tons of real human players. Patrick didn't just get a good report card. It made actual money. Its final win rate was a positive 3.7 big blinds per 100 hands. Now, for those of you who know poker, that's not just a little edge. That is a crushing, consistent victory. And just look at this chart. It puts everything into perspective. Patrick's on-table performance was a solid +3. Meanwhile, the average human player in the trial, they were losing at a rate of -13. I mean, that's not a gap. That's a canyon. Patrick wasn't just getting by. It was absolutely feasting on the kinds of players that a perfect shield AI would have no idea how to handle. All right, so the big question is, how? How does it actually do this? To figure that out, we've got to peek under the hood and look inside its brain. At a high level, the architecture is pretty straightforward. You've got 3 parts. First, the world interface, which is basically its eyes. It sees the game. Then there's the game engine, which knows the rules. But the real magic, the secret sauce, is in the third part, the brain. That's where all the decision-making, all the strategy happens. And inside that brain, you've got these awesome modules. Search and Destroy is the detective. It's constantly profiling you, looking for your tells, your weaknesses. Then you have Ranges, which is the mind reader. Its job is to figure out what cards you're probably holding. And my personal favorite, the Lawnmower. That's the storyteller. It's the part that weaves a narrative that bluffs and traps and manipulates you. Okay, so that all sounds cool in theory, right? A detective, a mind reader, but let's see how it works in practice. We're going to look at a real tough hand from the trial to see this thing in action. So here's the setup. Patrick is holding a monster hand, a set of nines. The problem? Its opponent is what poker players call a whale. This is a player who's super unpredictable, plays all sorts of weird hands. Basically, they're a nightmare to read. This is the ultimate test for an AI.
So before any real action starts, you can see here the whale's range of possible hands is huge. They could have a monster, they could have something decent, or they could literally be holding complete garbage. It's a total question mark. But then things get weird. The whale starts making these bizarre bets that don't make a lot of sense. Now, for a human player, this would be super confusing. But for Patrick, every weird move is just another piece of the puzzle. With every single action, its ranges module is busy at work, crossing possibilities off the list and homing in on the truth. And here it is, the final read. After processing all that chaos, Patrick's brain concluded there was an 85% chance the opponent had what's called a busted draw. They were chasing a big hand and just missed. And when the cards were flipped, spot on, Patrick was exactly right. That wasn't luck, it wasn't a guess, it was pure deduction.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second, because this is so much bigger than just a poker game. What we're seeing here is a fundamentally new way to think about AI. It's really a glimpse into the next frontier of what these systems can do.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's that the future of AI might not be about creating these perfect, isolated shields. It's about forging sharper swords that can interact with the real world. The most powerful AI won't be the one that ignores our messy, irrational human nature. It'll be the one that understands it. And think about the applications here. Training, teamwork, systems that help us make better decisions, all by working with our human tendencies, not against them.
And that really leaves us with a huge question to chew on. What happens when AI stops trying to be a perfect machine and instead starts learning how to be more human, flaws and all? That, right there, is something to really think about. Thanks for diving into this with me.